some things that you asked for. Actually, I think I want to start with Sally Go Around the Sun, because there was a couple things yesterday I thought of, and I thought I would just share them with you. But
Wonderful.
you are doing a fantastic job. I mean, you really are. I'm just astounded at how awesome that toddler class is going, and seeing where it was before. So you've done some incredible work there. So
Thank you.
yeah, really fine work. And you know, there's just always little things to make it better. And I think, you know, just like we were talking a few minutes ago, sometimes I just go crazy with that. Sometimes I need to just be okay with it being as good as it is and not try to make it so much better. So anyway, but you know, so just a little warning about that. So
I love feedback to make it better. In
Yeah.
the moment, I can't always focus on it, but after or next time, I love to.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, for sure. So Emily, do you mind just grabbing the hoops out of there, and we're gonna just, so I loved your exploration that you did with the hoops. Have you started that?
I have, yep.
Okay. Not that I love the idea of me being recorded, but.
I know.
Okay, so you passed them out, you let the kids explore the hoops and try out their ideas. That was fantastic. You know, they're little, some of them are like Barron, super little, so they can't really do a lot, but you probably noticed Barron was just soaking it all up. Like, he did a lot of observing yesterday. And you know, that might be a good parent ed piece to bring in sometime. You know, you maybe noticed when Barron came to class last week that you know, he was on a completely different level than everybody else in the class. You know, he hasn't been to the classes, but you know, we're okay with him just being where he was at, you know, and he just seemed to want to cuddle a lot yesterday. He just needed that safety while he was observing, but he didn't miss anything, you know, he was totally soaking it all in. And so, like, you know, it's pretty rare that you have a class that is, I mean, in many ways, your class now feels like it's a very, like, the same. I mean, I know you have Rowan in there that's kind of beyond everybody else, but I mean, it feels like a very cohesive class that you can just teach, kind of, you know, just teach, right? Without having to, like, okay, I've got to, like, turn my head upside down for all these, you know, different levels
Some
or whatever.
weeks it feels a little bit like that.
Right, I'm sure, but believe me, I've seen much worse. So, much more difficult, I should say. But lost my train of thought there. What was I started to say? But often you will have a parent join mid-year and their child, and this is really hard for the new parent because their child isn't performing the way all of the other children are. And so there's a lot of reassurance, or more than that, because the parents won't really be reassured until they are educated, right? So we have to educate them about that this is okay, you know. I've really appreciated when my other moms have reached out, and you know, you can foster that kind of behavior in the parents too, just like you do with the kids, you know. You're gonna love this group of parents. They've all been where you're at, and you know, things like that you throw out as a group, and in complimenting the parents that are with you, because that then gives them the confidence to, like, reach out to that mom after class and say, hey, I know today probably felt hard, but hang in there, it's going to be worth it, you know, I was right where you were at. Because I think that's a really important part of what we do, is that the parents build a community. And I was speaking to one of my it doesn't matter who, but a lady I know, she has her kids enrolled in the other music studio in town, not to talk about the other, but they have parent time once a month. That is a whole other, like, that's not even in our realm, right? Having the parents there every week matters. Don't ever go to doing monthly parent time, because, right? Like, for keyboard, how could that even be effective, right? But it seems like it is a lot to ask of the other parents, you know, and we get so worried about asking this of them. And some are gonna quit because it is too hard, you know? But I just had to let go of that years ago, because I felt like the ones that really need it and really want it will stay. And yeah, and what happens over time, you know, I feel like, what happens over time is they tell everybody else, you know, And sometimes they tell people and they come into the program and they don't stay, you know, but that's not the norm. The norm is that they usually stay, right? And I think there's always ways you can make things simpler on the parents, which I wasn't very good at doing. You know, I kept trying to do that through a lot of things, but I feel like I never really got there. But, you know, but the parent time, as hard as it is, you know, they need to be there every week. And where you have to reinforce that is in parent orientation and in the first few weeks of class. Because if you don't drive that home in the first few weeks of class, then one parent will miss. Pretty soon another parent will, you know, they'll send their child with a friend, and then they'll decide, oh, well, you take the kids and I'll pick them up. Or, I mean, you'll have all kinds of weird configurations going on, right? And so that education around the parent time is really, really, really important. And I would say one other little tiny tip just from yesterday. I loved your parent info that you threw out. That was fantastic. You were able to just keep the class flowing and throw it out there. I think you and I are a little bit alike this way. So we both want to share all of the cool things, right? And all of the details, and tell them like, oh, this activity isn't just this for your child. It's this and this and this and this and this, right? But I have to remember that especially nowadays, you know, young parents don't have the attention span that we had as parents, right? Mm-hmm. And even in your generation, everybody didn't have the capacity for that you did, right? So I have to remember that I'm different than most parents, right? And so what that means is, you know, I have my thing prepared, right? And then, I've highlighted, you know, the key thing in each one. It's only a couple words or 3 words or something like that. And then when throughout class, I'm paying attention to what's happening, and I'm gonna pick the thing that is most applicable to what happened in class that day if I can, right? And sometimes you're not gonna know, and maybe your first year, you don't have the mental capacity for that, right? So just pick one thing, right? Because then they go home, as I was thinking this through, and I, you know, like, which of those parents are gonna go home and share with their husbands that education? You know, most of them probably won't remember most of what you said. They may have picked up on one thing because, you know, it's something that they've been thinking about, right? But if you can just give one thing, even if you want to do 2 or 3 parent bites throughout the class, but do one at a time. Yeah, and then that way, you know, you can point out, maybe you noticed Susie today, or, oh, did you see what Susie just did? Did you know, blah, 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 give your blurb, right? Because then it's backed up by experience, you know, and it creates a safe environment where the parents feel like, we can observe all the kids, like everybody's different. It doesn't matter who is doing what right now, right? It's just where they're at, right? And so, I don't know, there's just a lot of benefits that come from it, but then they can go home, they'll have that one thing on their head, you know, and then they get excited about it, and then they tell their husband. And when they tell their husband, then the husband will support what's happening. And that's a lot what happens sometimes in people drifting off, is the husband is complaining about, you know, the money, or, you know, maybe mom's been complaining about the stress, you know, of making it all work. And so dad's like, well, why don't you just let it go then? You know, if that's that much stress, you know? So it's important, I think, that we get that stuff, we let it filter down. Okay, so with the hoops, so I'll just let one of you pass to Emily in a minute. Okay, so we've already explored, so go ahead and put your hoop on the floor. And we did around 1 hoop, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So another way is you can have the parent-child go around a hoop, but that might be more cycles level, so you could try it out and see, okay? But just go around your hoops for now. Emily, you can just pick a hoop. Maybe Jess and I can do this one, and Denise can do that one. Okay, so we go, Sally go round the sun, Sally go round the moon, Sally go round the chimney top every afternoon. Boom! Notice I'm not going boom, boom. Why am I doing this beat instead?
Did you say they can feel it easier?
Yeah, it's easier for them. So you always go for the micro beat first, always. And never do macro beat like in an activity like this, because we're not, like if you're doing like a drumming activity or something like that where you can explore different ones, but just stick with that micro. because then you'll start to see kids matching it because of what you did like during rhythm time, or like the welcome song when you were matching their beat. Soon somebody will start to match, and then you can adjust the tempo to match them because they won't be exactly your tempo, right? And then another day you'll notice somebody else or another repetition, okay? So you want the micro beat, okay, and it goes, Sally is on the floor, Sally is on the floor. Up she jumps to chase the sun, around the hoop once more. Sally go round the sun. I forgot to go ring the key, sorry. Sally go round the chimney top every afternoon. So there's the contrast. Well, what do you notice about the way the song is built, the way the activity is built? Like, just think about the form and, like, what do we have? Start.
Words match the action, so you go around when you say go around.
Fantastic. So they're learning prepositions, right? They're learning all kinds of positions and different things like that too, right? They're getting the label, the verbal label, okay?
The words match the beat of the song.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't sing it, you chanted it. But when I read the card, I thought it was singing it. So how did you know to chant it?
I don't know because I thought it said that in the card.
Maybe I just misread the card.
Let's look it up. Sometimes I've just done things that a certain way for so long I don't really
Well, and
remember what the book said.
it's, even if it says that, I like the chanting it. I just would never have thought.
Yeah, chant the following verse. Sally's on the floor, Sally's on the floor. Yeah. So why chant though?
Yeah, that's what I guess I'm asking.
Well, you sang part of the song, right? And then it was the chant in the middle.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then what happened after that?
You sang again?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to be the last thing we do? Chant or song? Or does it matter?
I would think song, but I don't know.
Does it matter which one you're going in after, whether you're doing like the beats or the can't remember the word.
Whether we're keeping the beats or we're just doing the movement? Yeah. I don't think it really matters, but what I think, or what I like to do, is end with the one that I started with, because that teaches ternary form, but it also gives a fefeeling of security because they're going back to the one that they began with.
Like they kind of step out of the comfort zone and go right back in.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's the same principle. Good job. Yeah. So, but keeping that beat and chanting it, and then when you chant, a lot of times we feel like, oh, it's just Sally is on the floor. But I mean, you can really, let's practice chanting that for a minute, okay? So, Denise, do you want to lead us first? It's just Sally's on the floor, Sally's on the floor, up she jumps to chase the sun, around the hoop once more. Okay? All right.
Sally is on the floor. Sally is on the floor. Up she jumps to chase the sun. And round we go once more.
Yeah,
And then,
perfect.
okay.
Yeah, that's great. And that's what I do. I just make it up if I can't think of it. Yeah, around the hoop once more. But I always had a hard time. Yeah, I won't tell you what I would get mixed up because then it'll put it in your head. So, okay. So now she did it. Now you do it. And I want you to focus on how you can enunciate or inflect, or I don't even know the right words for that. Like, how can you do it differently? Emphasize, or your just the dynamics of your voice even. Okay.
What's the words?
Sally go round the sun, Sally go round the sun, up she jumps to chase
This
the
is
sun.
Sally is on the floor.
Sorry.
Sally is on
Thank
the floor.
you.
That's like, I think that's different words now, so I'm getting
Yeah,
like someone
floor, sun, more. So Sally's on the floor, Sally's on the floor, up she jumps to chase the sun, around the hoop once more. Okay?
Okay.
If you want,
Make it up. Make it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it
It's
up or
fine.
go da da da
We
da
know
da.
what
We
you're
don't
saying.
care.
Yeah.
Okay? We're just focusing on our voice, okay?
Okay.
So,
Sally is on the floor. Sally is on the floor. Around the sun, something, something, around the hoop once more.
okay. Now Sally is on the floor. So she emphasized a different word. She also used a whisper voice with a ton of energy, right? Because so often we think quiet or soft means no energy. Soft has more energy than loud does a lot of times. So, okay? So, all right, your turn.
Sally is on the floor. Sally is on the floor. Up she jumps. I forgot the words. To chase the sun around the hoop once more.
Fantastic. Sally go round the sun. Sally go round the sun. Sally go round the chimney
top every afternoon. Boom, 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 boom. Sally is on the floor. Sally is on the floor. Up she jumps to chase the sun. Around the hoop once more. Sally go round the sun. It's gonna be your turn next, Denise. Sally go round the moon. Sally go round the chimney top every afternoon. Boom, 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 boom. Sally is on the floor. Sally is on the floor. Up she jumps to chase the sun. Around the hoop once more. Fantastic. Let's talk about it for a second. What did she emphasize?
The sun was fun.
Yeah, I like that. That was very fun. Up she jumps to chase the sun. You know, okay. So what's another way we could say it? What can you do if Sally's on the floor?
She did some different things with her voices. She like did a little bit of a deep voice. Sally is on the floor.
So different timbres, okay, of voice, the daddy voice, the mommy voice, the baby voice, whatever you want to call it. You emphasize floor, you could emphasize on, and you could emphasize Sally. If you emphasize Sally, wouldn't it be fun to put a child's name in there instead?
I was wondering if that would work, but I was like, I don't know if I can do this that many times. But then we did do it that many times. We were exhausted.
You don't have to do it a time for every child. Cycles, that's more that way.
Yeah.
Toddlers, they're not quite that aware
Well,
yet.
in this song, it wouldn't matter, but I can tell parents. It matters to parents
Yeah.
more than it matters. I mean, it depends. It matters to kids on the instruments, but everything else it maybe doesn't. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so.
It really matters a lot to the parents on the instruments.
Yeah.
That matters a lot. And definitely you're right on that. With stuff like this, if you just like make a mental note, okay, I didn't do Emily and Denise. I mean, I know it's hard when you're trying to just balance everything, but as you get better, you can make a mental note of who you didn't do.
Do them on the
And then
next
on the
one.
very next activity, you do them,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good
If you
idea.
had a bigger class, like I guess the question is, do you just do one kid or could you do 3 in a verse? So
Yeah.
it's like Ava is on the floor.
Fantastic idea.
So that way you could pull
Yeah.
more in maybe?
Yeah, fantastic. And you don't have to do it exactly in time. You can go, who's on the floor? Gemma is on the floor.
I like that.
Who is on the floor? Emily is on the floor. Who else is on the floor? Oh yes, you're on the floor, Charlie. Charlie is on the floor. Gemma is on the floor. Whoever the word
Yeah.
that I did. Yeah.
I like that
So
too.
you don't have to you can use it as just as an expressive. See, this is when we're really teaching music, because when we teach the expression and the experience, and it's all those things that makes it so dear, to them. That's what, they're going to want to do this song next time they come. They're going to be doing it at home. At least some of them are, right? Because that was just so special to have their name and all the different ways that we said it. So now they're going to start exploring with their voice.
So are you allowing for that exploration because it's chanting, or when do you, so my experience is learning language, where language is the focus. I mess with the music, I mess with the rhythm, I mess with what we've always done because I can get certain things. But as I've been taking these trainings, I've been like, oh, but then I'm messing with the beat, and I'm messing with the rhythm, and I'm messing with the patterns that flow that are naturally there. So how do you make that balance of when it's okay to?
Well, I did mess with the beat, right? And the rhythm a little. At least didn't do it in time, right? So what made it okay?
You went back into the beat after your pause.
So then you end on the
Sandwich
whole thing. Okay, I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah,
I really
just
love
sandwich it with that. And it also gives the parents a little permission to know, okay, I don't have to always do it, exactly perfect. We always want to just be reinforcing to our parents that any way you do it is great.
Yeah.
Anyway, even if it's completely wrong, right now it's that you're doing it and that your child is experiencing it with you or watching you do it. That's what's important. But anyway, so just looking for different ways like that you can really change up an activity. We literally did the same thing over and over again. We didn't change our movements other than the sun, we might change a little something here or there, but we didn't have to get out a different apparatus. We didn't have to we didn't even do it with the recording, which that might be an option too if there is one. I don't remember, but just lots of different ways to do it, and it was a very diverse experience just because of that. So anyway, okay, so there's that one. So beat motions is one that we haven't talked about. Let's see, I'm just gonna stick it back there where it belongs. So beat motions, what are beat motions? Can you help me figure out what that means?
Different motions to feel the beat?
Yeah.
Too? Like this is one.
Yes.
This was one.
Sure.
You're tapping your feet.
Mm-hmm. It can even be like when you do steady beat tapping to a what do they call it? Steady beat development, or they might even call it beat motions in the teacher guide. The function is either steady beat development or beat motions. So it's like a song, like in Cycles, Blue Hill. All we're doing is steady beat. You pass out the sticks, everyone tries out their ideas, and then you turn the recording on, and then you lead the group using their ideas, and every 8 measures or something like that, every 16 beats, whatever feels right, you're gonna change the motion, right? So we're teaching the form of the song too, okay? So those are beat motions as well, but beat motions are also what you do before you start a song. And I know often, I had the advantage of learning this over many years and both attending different workshops over a period of years, and then and then observing trainers teaching workshops and then teaching them myself. So there was a lot of opportunity for me to get another little light bulb moment on something. And I remember the time that I realized I'm not establishing the beat before we sing the song. We're just jumping right in. So those beat motions, that number one, this is a great way to get everybody doing the same thing. Like maybe you just had a busy activity, so all you have to do is sit down and patch, 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 and try to avoid all of that motion. Let's have an up sound, patch, patch, patch. Or if you want to do swish, you can do swish. But this one is going to be your go-to. That's the one you're going to do 90% of the time, or 80% of the time, or 70% of the time. You're going to do this a lot, okay? So it's steady beat development. It develops a foundation for steady beat development, which will come later, because in toddlers, they're not, most of the kids in toddlers, in fact, usually hardly any of the kids in toddlers are able to match your beat, right? But they will, as they watch you and the parents continue to do steady beat, and you're doing things like if they're not participating, you're helping them feel the beat. We've talked about that before in some other way by tapping next to them or tapping on their back or whatever. Then they will want to engage in that, and then they will start to initiate their own beat, in which time you can follow them, right? So anyway, so I wanted to talk about those beat motions. So anytime you can establish the beat before you sing a song, I think that's important. It can get, I think it can get overused to a degree, especially in older classes, but I think you don't need to worry about that, right? I think that
this is the thing that I keep reminding every week. I remind myself, and I think every week I forget when I'm in the moment. I sit as I'm planning, and I'm like, okay, I gotta remember to do this, and then the stress and the anxiety is high, and it's gone. So hopefully one of these days that will stick.
That's probably something, I'm just thinking back, that's probably something I did practice a little, you can't prep every class this way every week, and you can't even prep all the content of every class this way. But as you're thinking through, your lesson plan for that class, you can just, let's look at one together. So, what week are you on right now in toddlers?
6, I think 6.
So this 6 is the upcoming, because we didn't do 2 Tiki Birds. So, okay, so we've got clap, clap, clap. So as you're thinking it through, you can just.
Oh, we're on play with me.
Yeah, so now we're in prep mode, right? And so as we're prepping, we're, do you have your book?
Yeah, but this is, I'm
So
gonna
we're
play
on the
with,
other
this is clap with me, we're on play with me.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
But there, I mean, it's fine, that was last time. Oh, this is the wrong one.
I always forget that they're different, or in different order. I always like to do clap first because the focus listening is harder and play with me, so.
Is this volume 1 or volume 2?
Oh, here we go. Volume 2.
Okay.
Okay, so as you're prepping, you know, you think of your, what song are you doing for welcome? I can't remember.
Hoo hoo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And the reason they leave it open is because they want you to choose, is that
Yeah.
what that is?
But do continue to do the same song through the whole unit. Yep. In cycles, sometimes I will change halfway through the unit, you know, but I don't do that ever in toddlers. And I don't do it often in cycles, and you're gonna already do it every 7 weeks in home. So
And toddlers and cycles, you begin and end with the song, but home, it doesn't look like you end with it.
you have parent time, so you more just end with a culminating
That's what
activity.
I was thinking.
Yep, okay. All right, so so I'm in lesson plan mode. I'm looking at my lesson. Okay, I have Sally go around the sun. Let's see, what's my welcome song? So you just mentally say tap, 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 you know, and you sing the song one time through and then look at ideas, right? So I just mentally practice that. Sally go around the sun. We're gonna be standing up. So
Would you, I did the hoop ideas where everybody got a hoop because that's how you did it here.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have naturally, instinctually, to me, I like the one hoop. Do
Mhm.
you recommend always, every time giving everyone a hoop? Or some weeks, if we've done that a few times, maybe this time we can just get out the one hoop? Or will they all be sad? I don't know.
I think my purpose for using one hoop would be because I don't know that I can trust the activity to go if they're gonna get completely out of control, right? So they all handled it quite well, so I don't think that's an issue, but if you felt like it was more out of control, you could try just one hoop at this point, but that would be probably a first step for me.
That's what I couldn't
Yeah.
decide because they all want the hoop. As soon as the
Yeah.
hoop comes out, they all want one.
Yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
what I assumed was the reason,
Yeah.
the rationale behind letting them all
Yeah.
have it and touch it and then take it away. But like this week, Gemma was like, we pick up the hoops, why are we leaving it on the floor? So then I was like, well, I did just tell you pick up the hoops, so
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
fair that you want to pick it
Yeah,
up
yeah.
because that's what we just did.
It's so funny how what we do is so reflected in children's responses, so yeah, so.
So either way, maybe next time, since we've done it a couple times, I don't know, I still can't decide.
You can try
I'll
and
think on
see,
it.
but now that they've all had one, that might be hard to go back.
To go
but,
back,
I mean,
okay.
you could just try it and see. So, I mean, throw out one hoop, see how it
Uh-huh.
goes. Maybe today you just want to do a quick Sally go around the sun and you're only going to do a
Yeah,
few
right.
reps.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking, since
Yeah.
we've done it a bit, I don't know.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. Older kids have an easier time going back and forth from something like that, obviously. So, okay, so now I'm thinking green, 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 so tap, tap, green, green, tap, tap, tap with me, tap, tap, tap with me. And then you have that expectation that at least the parents are going to join you before you start singing, okay?
How do you hold your, sorry, I'm asking so many questions. How do you hold your note? I find if I do something and I say tap, tap out loud, the song's gone. How are
Well,
you holding tap
I-
while holding
I
the
don't know
song?
what key it's in, so I was just picking a note there, so. My glockenspiel, pill, yep.
But I can't keep it with me. I've tried that.
Some
So I
teachers use
have
a
to
pitch
go-
pipe. Do you know what a pitch pipe
I
is?
don't.
So it'll
You
just
wear
give-
it around your neck?
Yeah, yeah. Or you can put it in your pocket, but it just gives you an A. So then you have to find
I
it
have
from
to find
A.
it from A.
But that's okay because, you
I
know,
practice that a
or
lot,
maybe-
but-
I don't know, maybe they'll give you different
I
pitches. I've
had a
never owned one.
teacher who could change what the pitch was, so he could
Oh,
he
I
could
might
adjust
look
it.
into
So,
that
yeah,
because
yeah.
because I do find that things happen between when I gave myself my note and here, and it's gone. I'm like, for the life of me, I can't remember. I can guess, but I'm usually a little bit off.
It never really occurred to me to get a pitch pipe, I guess, but that would be an easy way to do that so that you could, you know, really focus on that relative pitch. But I mean, I had pianos right here, so it was very easy for me just to go over, hit the note, you know, so.
Okay, sorry I interrupted again.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
But I think you get what I'm saying though, is just as you go down through, okay, Jolly Sailors, we're gonna bounce, so bounce, bounce, bounce. I get everybody bouncing before you begin. Moms, can you help your child? I mean, you can give instructions or whatever you need to do. So now I'm on, sorry, I can't read it. Oh, the triangle boat song. So boat song, you did the wonderful job with the triangle. So before you get the triangle out, you could just sing the song. Can you just rock with me? Sail little boat along. And here's an example of when you have to use macro beat. Because, I mean, yeah. It's not very unnatural. All right, practice, okay, triple patterns, tap, tap. So that always becomes kind of a habit because I'm mentally going through it. Sometimes with some songs, I mentioned this before, but boat song is like, sail little boat along. And that's actually a good speed for triple rhythms. So try to match that same tempo. So sometimes while I'm putting my triangle away, I'll just go ba, 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 ba. Just chanting that first phrase. Ba, 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 ba. Parents. Tap, 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 tap. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. So you can use the music to help you get into those rhythm patterns. And then triple rhythm, I've got, we are all nodding. Nodding, nodding, nodding. Look, we are all nodding. I'm just giving those beat motions. But see, I've just taken a minute to kind of go through mentally, like what that will look like, so that it's kind of like when they talk about in the military, when the crap goes down, they rely on their what do they say? Their training kicks in. So like sometimes if you've just had a minute to just quickly mentally prepare something like that, you already have an idea, and so that's what you'll naturally go to.
So what you could do is your lesson planning is just look at each song and then just practice that. Like, okay, this next song, how am I getting into, like, just to, and then that will kind of incorporate is what you're saying. Into
what I used to do, and you might find this in some of the used cards that I've given you, is I would take sticky notes and I would, write patch, or I would write nod, or, like my beat motion for each one of those. That was probably what I did, at one point in my development, is just, write that in so that I had an idea of how to do it. And just having that, little sticky note right there was always super helpful, right? To be able to just have that reminder. So we talked about doing that with transitions, but you can do it. I mean, your beat motion can be your transition, right? So, and in toddlers, you want to keep it simple. So beat motions are a fantastic transition. So, okay. Oh, I want to do a Ram Sam Sam too, because there's kind of a cute little part in this that I don't know who came up with this. So, all right. I just have kind of a variety of things that I got for my kids over the years. Well, actually, I just have a couple of these, so I'll just give each one. So toddlers definitely an age hand, but shake, and this is after we've all explored, okay? Oh, ram, sam, sam, oh, ram, sam, sam, gooly, 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 ram, sam, sam. Switch hands. Oh, ram, sam, sam, oh, ram, sam, sam, gooly, 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 ram, sam, sam. Oh, we wouldn't switch hands, but you get the idea. Oh, Rosie, can you do that? Oh, Rosie, try it again. Oh, Rosie. Again, just that exploration to kind of take them out of that, Now let's put it to the song. Oh, Rosie, oh, Rosie, gooly, 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 ram, sam, sam. Oh, Rosie, oh, Rosie, gooly, 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 ram, sam, sam. So and then the last part, a ram, sam, sam. So the song is an ABA, right? A ram, sam, sam, a Rafi, a ram, sam, sam. So try if you can to get through all of that the first time through, okay? Then you can ask them for ideas if you want to for the A sections, right? But they're not going to do it as beautifully as you did, right? They're going to all be doing different things, kind of. So just encourage the parents to stay with you. But now you've explored, or you've matched. I'm telling you, I should have you be telling me. So why was this good? What did we just teach there musically?
This change in
The pattern.
The pattern is new, yes, so we had a different motion. What else?
Think of the melody.
It's higher, your hands are higher.
So we mapped it, right? So even though they're toddlers and we don't really want to give them a visual representation of what we're doing per se, but it's okay to do that through movement and sensory experience at this point, right? So, yeah. So anyway, just a little fun thing on that. Stick this in there. Okay. And then let's do We Are All Nodding, and then we'll talk for a few minutes. Every time you go somewhere, look and see what instruments you see, like when you travel, and you'll have a great little conglomeration of instruments before long, so. Okay, so it says we're all are seated in a circle. Focus the attention of the children on head nodding movements. So they're basically saying, do that for beat motions, right? Sing the song, nodding your head, change the action for the middle section, turning in, let's see, oh, okay, by nodding in different directions or even turning around on your bottom. Continue in a similar fashion with the remaining verses. And then a variation, sing verses 3 and 4 from a standing position. Make up further verses such as bouncing, swinging, spinning. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. So I'm gonna sing it through and see what you think of the song, so. We are all nodding, knit, knit, nodding. We are all nodding at our house today. With a turning in and a turning out and a turning this way round about. We are all nodding, knit, knit, nodding. We are all nodding at our house today. So, first impressions of the song. Think toddlers. A lot of words. Yeah. So I think I very rarely did the middle section, to be honest. I think I mostly just did the A section. But, I mean, you might throw it in occasionally when you know the song, but if it's your first year teaching it.
So just the.
Yeah. So let's do it, okay?
I'm also thinking as a parent, I'm like, oh, that's high.
Yeah.
Like, and I wonder if that would.
That's like all the songs, so.
Yeah,
All
I
high.
realize that they are, but like when you're
Yeah.
first, especially when you're first coming in,
Yeah,
you're just like,
yeah.
am I confident
This,
singing with
this
my
would be a
voice
tough
as
fall
parent?
semester
Yeah.
song,
Uh-huh.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you know, a parent can't learn this in music class, right?
Mhm.
Like if they do learn to sing this, it will be because they're playing it on the recording album a lot, right? So, okay, so nodding, 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 stop. Can you make your head nod? Try nodding down low, and up high, and down low, stop. Shake, 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 shake. Nodding, nodding, nodding. We are all nodding, knit, knit, nodding. We are all nodding at our house today. Let's see, all nodding at music class today. Knit, knit, I like that part. Knit, knit, nodding. Knit, knit, nodding. Try that out. Knit, knit, nodding. Yeah, so you can take little pieces of the song. All right, at our house today. Can you think of something else you can do with your body in a sitting position? What's something else you could do with your body? Oh, I see Emily stretching. We are all stretching, stretch, stretch, stretching. We are all stretching at our house today. What else? What else could we do? Think of a toddler, what that might they be doing that's not giving the emotion intentionally.
Standing up and running away. What half of them do.
Standing up. Oh, did you see Gemma standing up? Look at that. Sit down. Stand up. We are all standing. Sit, sit, sitting. We are all standing at our class today. Or you could just stand up over and over again. Okay. What else? Think of your toddlers.
They're running or cuddling mom half the time.
Oh, yeah, so cuddling mom is a great idea. But this is what's the function of this one?
Stationary movement.
Stationary movement. Okay, so they're really wanting it to be something that we experience here.
But it's a toddler class, so you're gonna have to get up and move around at some point, so then maybe you can bring them back
Bring it
down.
back.
Yep. Oh, are you so tired? Oh, I see Gemma laying on the floor, or maybe not Gemma, Leila, laying on the floor. We are all sleeping. And they may or may not do that, right? But yeah. So maybe when you're, maybe you do marching, or they marched really well. I was surprised about that. Yeah.
They like the moving around,
Yeah.
the walking, marching, running.
But I mean, I saw kids bringing up their knees like that. That's unusual in toddler class. So I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, so maybe when you're up marching or doing an up thing, that's when you might throw in, we're up, let's see, with the marching in and a marching out. And I don't really care if everybody's doing that or not. We're just marching. With the marching about. I just changed the words and made it way simpler so I could sing that part.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you can do it that way too. It's not on a recording, so I don't think it matters that much if you do the words exactly.
Because they're not going to remember it and take it home because there's too many words.
Exactly. So really what they're just experiencing, in fact, to me, I feel like that's a better thing to model for the parents, that, you know, just change the words to, with the marching in and the marching out, do 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 do, whatever, so that they just get the idea that.
I actually think that's a really cool skill to learn that almost no parents have, is modifying songs to meet whatever need you have.
Yes. Do you brush your teeth when you go to bed at night? Before you go to bed, you have to brush your teeth? Yeah? No, you don't like brushing your teeth? Oh, well, I have a special toothbrush for you today. Here it is. And the toddler will look at you like, what are you doing? So, because, you know, they may or may not. Maybe hand it to Rowan first. Okay? So, okay, let's put the toothpaste on your toothbrush. And they may or may not be able to do this yet, but you're going to do it for the couple that can. And then brush. I might take a little longer on each of those motions. Brush, 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 brush. We are all brushing, brush, brush, brushing. We are all brushing at our house today. So, yeah. Anytime you can pull in those things that they do every day, yeah. Because wouldn't that's such an easy tune to sing once the parent's done it 4, 5, 6 times. They can remember that when they get home, or the gist of it anyway. Maybe they won't remember the exact tune, but they can go, we are all brush, brush, brushing, brush, brush, brushing, even if they just do that, right? So, okay. Does that help enough with nodding?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's chat for a minute. I want to talk about, a couple questions first. Did I give you, I did give you the oral recognition game, right? No?
We talked about it. I don't know if we got that one.
Okay, I've got several copies of it, that's why I wondered if maybe I had it.
You did last time.
Oh, wait, wait.
You did it when
This?
we talked about it, yeah.
Okay,
It was the next week. we got it.
okay. So, and does it say that under the title, cycles halfway through the year through keyboard? Okay, yeah, all right. So it's not a toddler thing, but yeah, there you go. I think what I did say is that I was going to simplify it, like do a cheat card or something.
You did,
for
and then you
but-
said it was in the World book, and I keep meaning to ask to maybe send a picture of the. You said there is a simplified version in the World book.
It's either in World or Keyboard 1, but or it might even be in Home. So just look in your index in the back of your book for oral recognition game, and then, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna always give you the detailed version, right? So if you want something simpler, or you could even just go through this and just highlight, you know, teacher sings, teacher says, what are, teacher says, when you know, teacher said, or teacher calls on a child, or teacher invites child to echo. 5 would be child echoes with solfege. Like, you know, you can simplify it. I don't think you need me to do that, so. Okay, and then I did want to give you a couple other rhythm tonal pattern handouts. Let's look at this tonal one real quick. Okay, so this is by Leilani Miranda put this together. She is a music art and trainer. She's one that trained me. But this I thought was really helpful. So
Sorry, what is this? Is this the one you just gave us today?
I gave Emily 2 of them. Did you hand one to?
I didn't realize that.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but my brain is still, when you said look up in the back for you said oral recognition, is this like, isn't this just all the songs, or where?
No,
how
in
does-
every
I haven't
activity.
learned these
Which book are you
these
looking at?
books. So this is home. You said it might be in home, the
So
oral recognition. and
Is
so-
it in A's?
I mean, it's just the songs. Oh, there it is. Oral recognition. Okay,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Every activity you do will be in the index.
Okay,
So
all right. I haven't learned the index well.
Okay.
But there is one, yes. Okay.
it's so much easier to look everything up in the index. It's just
Yes.
okay. So Leilani reminds us: do not tap the beat or sing tonal patterns in time. So this is very easy to get into this habit because we just finished a song, and so we think carry the rhythm over for the song. Nope, do that for rhythm patterns, but not for tonal. So intentionally sing sing a different tempo, but don't stay in tempo. So like sometimes I'll go so me or bum 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 bum, and then I remember bum 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 bum. So sometimes you won't remember, but you can definitely just
That happens because I have to think about it. It's usually in the minor cards, and they're on it. It's so funny. I'm like, C, or whatever it is, and like, but I'm going slow because I'm thinking about it, and then they go slow, and I'm like, good job, guys. We're getting that step.
Yes, the minors can be a little tricky trying to remember what's what. So always go back to law, like use
Yes.
law as your anchor point. So one of my trainings in college was interval training. Like we did lots of ear training, but we trained in intervals. Do you guys know the songs for all the different intervals?
I only know some of them. I learned them once upon a time, but I know Here Comes the Bride is a fourth.
Okay, so
That's the one that stuck the most.
one is come on everyone. That's not the one I usually use, but okay. A major second is
Sorry, what's P1 stand for? What did I miss?
perfect one. All
Perfect
all
one.
intervals in a major scale are either perfect or major. 1, 4, 5, and 8 are always perfect. The reason why is because you can't have a minor 1, 4, 5, or 8.
I'm sorry, can you say that all one more time? My brain is slowly digesting that. I've heard
So-
you.
Let me write this down,
Okay.
and then I'll come back to it, okay? Because then you can see it. Okay, so you can see 1, 4, 5, and 8, no matter what major scale or major key you are in. So this is C to C. Let's do this this way. So if we're in the key of C, this is C to C, same note, it's a repetition. A major second would be C to D. A major third would be C to E. A perfect fourth would be C to F. A perfect fifth would be C to G. A major sixth would be C to A. Major seventh, C to B. And a perfect octave, C to the next C up. So you can see this is just the scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right? So we're always, when you handle intervals, and it doesn't matter what key you're in a song, but if you see a major sixth and you sing the song for a major sixth, it's going to be right. Okay? But what's tricky is when you're in a different key and you see a major sixth, but it's not starting on do. Like maybe it's starting on so or something like that. You see? Okay, but that's not important. What's important is just to know these songs, okay? So perfect one is just a unison, a repetition. It's the same note. So you could use come on, everyone. And then a major second is are you sleeping? Major third is the bear went over the, or for he's a jolly good fellow. A perfect fourth is here comes the bride. Here comes. And then a perfect fifth is twinkle, twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle. I'm underlining where the pitch is, right? My bonnie lies over the ocean. My bon. You can also, I love to see the temple. Lots of songs.
We
stuff.
did NBC back in the day. NBC.
Yeah,
which
there
I thought
you
was
go.
funny. Which I'm like, nobody really watches the news anymore. But.
Which is so right do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your sixth right there.
Yep.
So because do, the last note is the resting tone.
Mm-hmm.
So that sixth is not in the key. So one thing I'm doing here is I'm putting all of these in the home key. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're all starting on C. Yeah. Sorry, what I meant to say is C is the resting tone.
Yes.
Yes, and it also starts on that note. So, okay, and then CB is from
South Pacific.
yeah. And there's another one too from a musical. I feel like it's from the one that's about the gangs.
West Side.
Yes, West Side Story. What are the songs from that?
That one wouldn't be it.
No, yeah, it's a sixth.
There's a place for us?
There's a place for us. Yes. There's a place for us. Is that from West Side Story? There's a place. There's a place. So it's there's and place. So it goes to the octave first though, but the easiest one for octave is somewhere over the rainbow. Somewhere, see.
Sing the Bali High. I don't know that song.
Bali High. So it's the first and third note.
From South Pacific?
I don't
Yeah,
know
sing it
South
again.
Pacific.
Bali
I gotta watch that one apparently.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but there's a place for us might be easier. I mean, there's others too. You'll find them. One time I just sat, when I was a primary accompanist, I just sat and, figured out what all the different songs were as we did it. There was a lot of fourths and a lot of sixths in the primary book, and maybe some thirds, some fifths. Anyway, but all right. So there's that. So if that just kind of helps you, like in your own musical development, be able to.
Does it matter that I'm not understanding what the P and the M's are? Perfect versus
Major.
major.
So it just means, so, okay, so here's C, that's the key we're in. When you go to F, it's a perfect fourth because, let me start this differently. Okay, when I go a second, a major second, I can also have a minor second. If I go here, it's a minor second. Okay, but I can't do that with this because a minor fourth is just a major third.
Oh, there's no other option for a fourth. That's why it's a perfect.
Yeah. So if you do alter fourths and fifths, they become augmented or diminished. So if in music it was notated as C, F flat, because that can happen, then that would be called a diminished fourth, but it's really just a major third, sound-wise.
So like if you're just looking at the staff and you count up and it's 4, does it matter whether it's a major or a minor because we're not dealing with the diminished? Does that, like, you know what I'm saying?
A fourth is never gonna be major or minor. It's always gonna be perfect,
Oh, okay.
augmented, or
Always.
diminished. Always.
Doesn't matter what we're starting on.
I mean, you can
If
have a
it's
fourth
not on the
anywhere.
C, and it's always a,
Yeah, you could be in the key of C, and you could have, let me think of one that would be, maybe actually would happen. Yeah, I can't think of an example like that off the top of my head. But, I mean, here's a fourth, right? In the key of C. It's it is La to Re. Right? So we're in the key of C, this is La, and this is Re in the next octave. Still a perfect fourth. If I had this, it would sound like a major third, but sometimes they have to spell it that way because of the key that we're in. And you might say, well, why wouldn't they just write a C to an E, right? Or sorry, an A to a, I keep forgetting what thing we're in here. Why would they not just write an A to a C? It might have something to do with the accidentals that are occurring right then, or it might have something to do with if it's descending or ascending. Like there's other rules that could come into play there, why they choose to write it the way that they do.
so much.
I know, yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that for music art. But, and then same thing, if this is this and it's written as a fourth, then it would be an augmented fourth, which is the same as a diminished fifth. Okay, and you can also have a diminished third. So this would be C to E double flat.
Is the X double flat or double sharp?
Double sharp. Double flat, they write two flats.
Right, I remember that. I wasn't sure like which one it was.
Musicians never do the same thing the same way twice. Just saying. Okay, well, we got a little off there, but. Okay, so back to our tonal pattern development. Do not tap the beat or sing tonal patterns in time. Detach each note. We've talked about that, I think. It will be easier for the children to focus on each individual pitch. Sing patterns using good posture and taking a full breath before each. So, you know, some of these things are things that as you get more experienced in your teaching, you can add them in, right? But, you know, taking that full deep breath is just, and that posture is just modeling good singing technique, right? Take your time and model good singing habits. Always sing tonal patterns in your head voice in an appropriate range for the children. If you're singing down here, bum, 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 you're singing it in your chest voice. So do you understand the difference between chest voice and head voice? Just sing with me. From this note, we're just gonna sing a scale. Do, actually, let's go lower. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, la. So right there, I had to change to my head voice. And if you keep going up, you may have to go farther depending on your vocal range. But at some point, you can no longer sing it like this. It has to have this kind of a feel to it, yeah? Okay, so we wanna always be in our head voice as much as possible, okay? So uncomfortable for us, but good for them.
I've noticed it's like very different for them.
It is. It's
'Cause
like,
there's one that doesn't want to imitate in her head voice. And it's so far off. But like I've noticed if I change my body so that I'm like showing that I'm in my head voice without saying that, then sometimes she'll start to imitate in her head voice, and she's so much closer to being on.
yes. Tucking your chin, lifting your eyebrows, your posture, you bet. And using that a lot. I cannot tell you how many times in my voice lessons we went in my voice lessons over and over. I mean, you can do that here too. The other thing about that is, I forgot what I was going to say, so don't worry about it. Head voice. Okay, major patterns on bomb, group echo only at first. Minor patterns on bomb, group echo only at first. 1 month to 6 weeks in, major patterns with solfege. And I mean, she's really narrowed this down. Like, it doesn't always show up like this, okay? But, workshop participants have a habit of wanting everything to be very defined. So she finally came up with something. So group echo only at first, solfege will likely come slowly. 1 month to 6 weeks, minor patterns with solfege. Okay. And then this is, by the way, this was made for cycles class. You might want to write that in the corner. I should have that on there. 1 month to 6 weeks, minor patterns with solfege. Group echo only at first. Solfege will likely come slowly, especially in minor. Resonator bars we talked about. Teacher sits in front of the bars next to the child to motto so that they are side by side with you, okay? When the kids are first playing resonator bars in home or in cycles, you want to do it side by side so that you are both looking at the keyboard or the scale appropriately.
So how do you do that if you don't have two of the same? If they're in front of your two notes, how are you? Do you just sit next to them?
Mhm.
Show me.
So like they're right there maybe, and I
I've
guess-
only ever done it across, but I haven't done this with toddlers yet. Other than that, we could.
And this is Leilani's tip. I mean, I've definitely done it both ways, but so Emily, will you come meet the child?
Well, what if there's only two? Oftentimes with toddlers, you're only pulling out two, right? So show me with just like one or two.
Can I be troublemaker?
Sure.
Yes. It's like,
And I might even take, let's see, F sharp and D. Okay. We are all nodding, or whatever song we're doing, okay? And really, there's nothing you can do that's gonna make me be like, don't do that, unless you're doing something like that could break the bars, yeah. Or, you know, hitting somebody with this or what, I mean, yeah. So, and I might, you know, she may just be in her own little world and I might just be doing this the whole time, that's fine. If she does something that I think I can imitate, I might swap for a minute and try to imitate her and then go back to mine again and then maybe imitate her for a second. So we need to talk about resonator bar development. I don't know if we're gonna do it today though, but that's all that means, is that to do it next to them like that. Now in toddlers, I'm not as worried about this because we're not trying to do any technique right. Like we're just trying to get them to hit the dang bar, right? So I think doing it across from them is fine if that's more convenient for you, especially because often they're sitting on their parent's lap, so you can't really do it next to them. So yeah. But when it gets into cycles and they're being a little more independent, then you can do that, you know, alongside them
And what is the rationale? Like what does it help doing next to them?
so that they're not, because children will mirror you, right? And so the idea is so that they, you know, especially like if you're doing something, you have your own bars, they're able to just follow you and do your own, you know, do what you're doing.
So for example, if I don't have my own bars, can I just use your melons? To me, this seems like such a, I don't know, like that mirroring and then
Yeah.
like.
For toddlers, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me what is the difference between this and this that I
To
would
me-
distinguish when I would need to do one versus the
Gotcha
other.
what you're saying. So to me, this is more like you're trying to help them be independent, right?
Okay.
So they're learning to do it themselves. You're not getting involved in what they're doing. You're letting them, so in cycles class, you know, the kids want to be more independent, right? And especially 4-year-olds, like, you don't want to make them feel like you're babying them or whatever, right? So the idea is just to, you know, I'm okay with you doing your thing and I'm going to show you this idea and I'm going to try some of your ideas out and we're going to go back and forth, okay? But yeah, so it's just like a different purpose. So the purpose of this would be to develop more independence, and I think that this develops a level of safety too, as kids are trying to become more independent, where this feels more like, you know, I'm the teacher, you're the student. So anyway.
So I have been doing a cross in home. Should I not? Like
I don't think it's
are
a
they-
should. I think you might just try both ways and just see like what happens. Like maybe with some kids, they'll respond to this better because, you know, maybe it makes them feel safer to have you next to them, you know?
yeah.
So, yeah, so I just think it's another way to do it. So, and I probably said it in a way absolute. I have a habit of doing that sometimes, so forgive me, but yeah, it's not a have to thing. It's just an idea. She really believed pretty strongly in it, but I don't think, in my experience, I don't think it's something that has to be that cut and dry. Follow a similar process as spelled out in rhythm pattern development steps 6 through 8. Do not ever include a steady beat. Focus only on matching the pitch. Note, begin some individual response later on each step, but realize tonal will come more slowly than does rhythm. But that can depend on the child. So she's not talking about any individual responses here, but I'm going to start adding in individual responses as soon as they're ready, okay? All right, so this rhythm pattern development, 4 to 6 weeks. We have a duple echo while tapping the beat. And in about 4 to 6 weeks, invite individual responses. And then we go into triple. Step 3, add the language to duple, tapping the beat. So again, we go back to the Gordon, okay, are 70% of my kids, you know, able to say the rhythm as a group, you know, in time? If they can do that correctly, then we're okay to, I mean, we got to get it right with the neutral syllable first, right? So step 5, the teacher is playing the rhythm on a drum and the children are echoing with their voice. So that's a little different. Rhythm sticks, play and chant. Teacher plays and chants the rhythm with language and children echo. Rhythm sticks, chant. Teacher chants the rhythm with language but does not play it. Children echo the language with rhythm sticks. These are just different variations. Rhythm sticks, play. Teacher plays the rhythm on the sticks without chanting it. Children echo by chanting the language. They are supplying the language while also copying the sticks. This is the oral recognition game, basically, okay? And then there's a note there, but anyway. Goal by the end of cycles year, be able to do step 3 of stick game in duple and triple. So we are starting to add language in cycles. I have not had a whole class be able to do language at the end of the year in cycles since I had older kids in cycles. So, and then the one that the Jill Hannigan one, including pattern work in your lesson plans. This is a good thing maybe for you just to read over sometime when you have time. This is a training that Jill did around the patterns and associated them with the Gordon steps. So the verbal association level, work alternately with duple and triple patterns, echo 4-beat patterns using syllables. Don't show any notation at this point. Do all combinations of yellow and green rhythms. So she's talking about the keyboard yellow and green cards or the home yellow and green cards. But at this point, just verbal association, not symbolic association. So we're not showing a symbol. Anyway, trying to just look to see if there's anything. Yeah. So in step 2, or Roman numeral 2, when children have ample oral and verbal association experience. So if you remember, the very first was absorption, oral, verbal association. So we're just going down through that. When they've had ample oral and verbal association, then you can introduce the following verbal association and partial synthesis game, which this is going to be the oral recognition game, okay? Anyway, so this just gives lots of different ideas of how to, practically utilize the rhythm patterns throughout that Gordon process. So anyway, we can go into depth more on this if you want to look at it and just see if you feel like you need more clarification, and we can hit it again another day. So
can you tell me, Denise, I remember it was last year we had this conversation, and I this last week tried to find our Marco Polo about it, and I can't, and I don't have the World Book to look in the World Book. But there were multiple things that we couldn't distinguish between, and I think it was oral recognition game versus something else.
the 3-period lesson?
No, it sounded like
Oh.
oral recognition game, but it was different. You didn't by chance?
So I guess maybe what we can ask you in the world class, what is the sequence that you do?
Okay.
Because it was one of the steps that we weren't clear
And
on.
to us, at the time last year when we talked, we were like, we're doing the same thing. Every time we see this, we're doing the same thing, but it's labeled differently here, and I'm not understanding the difference.
Okay.
And I still feel like I'm still feeling very fuzzy on delineating all of these.
On the what?
Like, the processes in all of these recognition games.
Okay.
And I can't remember. I wish I could look up. I don't know where to look.
Do you have African American? you're working on it. Anyway,
Oh,
maybe,
yeah. Yeah, could I pull a couple of those and look through that for a second? I'm sure that
Do
would.
you just want the teacher guide? I've got a teacher
Yes,
guide.
the teacher
too.
guide
Yeah, that'd be great.
would do it too, yeah.
I'm gonna go with
Okay, so here are your oops. Okay. All right, there's your Gordon steps, okay? And this is the music, what it looks like in music. So in toddlers, you are doing absorption, aural and oral, and maybe some kids are doing a little verbal association. So verbal association is adding the language to the pattern, okay? So that's toddlers, but it's mostly gonna be these three, okay? I'm gonna have a little of this. All right, a little of this one. Okay, then in cycles, we are adding this step and a little of this step. So everybody always uses the earlier steps, right? Everybody, I mean, you have to absorb something before you can do anything else. Like, it's just the way it works, okay? Okay, so then verbal association is we're definitely adding the language. And then partial synthesis is the aural recognition game. So like they can hear a pattern in a song, or you're actually, to me, I think in cycles, I'm planting the seeds for this. So when we do something like, this is just not a very good example, but meow, 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 that is what they say, do, re, mi, fa, sol. So I might occasionally, with one of the repetitions, sing so, 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 so. When cats get up in the morning, they always say good day, skipping ahead. Meow, 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 that is what they say, meow, 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 that is what they say. So, 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 so. I'm just gonna throw it out there, right? Like I'm not expecting them to find it or anything like that. It'd be better if it was an actual pattern though. We don't do mouse mousey in cycles. Let me think of some
Down
cycles.
comes Johnny.
Down comes Johnny, down comes he. Do, so. So I might pull that one in. Even better if you can find a descending minor third. You know, so look for those kinds of things. So all I'm doing is just laying a foundation of like bringing their awareness to the fact that these patterns that we sing are in music, right? And you can hear them in your songs, you know? So I'm just pointing that out, right? And I don't know, how often would I do it? But the last half of the year, probably a fair amount, like at least maybe once a class, you know, just because I want them starting to make that, you know, so that hopefully by the end of the year we have at least a few kids that can hear a song in a pattern, or hear a pattern in a song, okay? But I don't have the expectation that they can do this in cycles, okay? We're just planting seeds, all right? Then in home, now we're playing this game. We're playing the aural recognition game a lot, and we're finding, you know, when we play Mouse Mousey, we sing, so me do can't catch me. We do that. So we play the game with the song, and I ask them to put their finger on their nose when I sing do, when they hear the pattern do, do, do. So it's a more active use of this, and by the end of the year, we're hoping that they can do that, you know, at least a good percentage of the class. Also in home, we're adding this step, sorry, I'm just gonna, so this one is a little bit of a floater between home and cycles. Okay, so home, now we have everything through symbolic association, okay? But nothing beyond that point. So this is the cards, right? Notation game. Then in world, we have composite synthesis. What is that? What activity is composite synthesis that we do in World? So visually and orally recognizes a familiar pattern within the context of a written song or chant.
There's song pages.
Yes.
They're like circling patterns.
Yep. Okay. So, but can you see how much easier that step is if they've done this a lot? And the other thing I would say about this is there's a difference between the kids who have experienced this and the kids who haven't experienced this, right? The kids that have experienced this are finding the patterns orally, like they're doing the work orally, right? The kids that aren't are doing it visually. They're finding what looks the same. There's not any like audiation to back it up really, okay? Which is okay because I mean, if you come into class as a 5-year-old or come into music garden as a 5-year-old, that's your primary learning mode right then, you know, especially with the way they do it in schools. Their visual is very, very highly.
So I guess for that purpose, as we get like 5-year-old recommendations and kids in kindergarten who have no music garden experience, we would recommend that they do World for that very reason. Is that correct? Because that's the thought that I'm having.
To me, in fact, I wondered, I think one year I even did it. I titled the World class,
Required?
No, I changed the title and I called it, like World Preparatory Keyboard or something like that.
Keyboard prep.
Keyboard prep, yeah.
We've kind of been calling it a pre-keyboard.
Yeah.
For some of those who have been coming in.
But I would at least like put that in your messaging so that people know. And when I have those conversations, the phone call with a parent that wants to enroll, if their child is 6 or even 7, I'm trying to push the World class because there are so many important musical foundations that happen in World, and I think that's one of the reasons why Music Garden, I went to look on the wall for all my cards, why Music Garden has so many notation games in World, because there are kids that are gonna come in then, and if we can just give them experience with those, we're not necessarily, I mean, some kids will master them, but it's probably gonna be the kids that's been in there since toddlers, right? The new kids aren't gonna master all those patterns, right? And by master, I mean anything from being able to say them correctly to, you know, being able to chant them independently. Like, we don't have that many kids probably that would really chant them independently, right, at that point. But anyway, so, okay, so World goes to here. Then in keyboard year 1, we are decoding unfamiliar music by using what is known about patterns that are familiar. Think of the mystery songs in book 2. Okay, this is still year 1. What's happening in book 2 in the mystery songs?
It's just patterns.
It
They're
is.
looking for familiar patterns. But sometimes they don't always know what the song is, but they can figure it out because that's a familiar pattern.
Yes. So the difference between Mouse Mousy, which is their very first song page they get in book 1, is every pattern, the song is the patterns. Like there are a couple extra so's and that's it. It is actually the patterns. Where, see, the pony has re, fa, mi, re, do, you know, which is completely different. Or they have, what's another song page in there? Well, later on, they have, trying to think of one that doesn't have all the same patterns. Yeah, Musette, the Musette does that. So it's got, mi, fa, sol, mi, she said, da, 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 mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, re, fa, mi, do. Like none of that is really any patterns that we've done, right? But the sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do. But once they figure out sol, fa, mi, re, do, they can figure out those others pretty easily because they've sung all 5 of those pitches, right? Or if they're doing it visually, they've seen all 5 pitches, so then they can generalize to figure out the others, right? So, okay, so, and then creativity improvisation, we start this a little bit in keyboard 1 with vocal improvisation, but then year 2 really hones in on the improvisation strand. I wish we had a little more improvisation in year 3, but you know, it is what it is. Combining, bridging musical patterns sensibly in order to create original musical ideas. So, but they're using ideas that they already have, right? And then obviously theoretical understanding. But what happens like in school music classes is we're starting here. This is the quarter note. This is the note C. This, you know, it's all the theory, it's like the cognitive part, which that's not what children need. So I've told you my story about David and the note flashcards, right? So that he, you know, he had all the music art and stuff. I taught him piano for a couple years and it was a disaster, maybe longer, because it's just hard to teach your own kids. And anyway, so finally I talked my husband into, you know, we really need to just get him another teacher, you know, so that I am not having to try to, you know, anyway, just there's many, many challenges around it. And so we take him to another teacher. The first week she gives him all of the note flashcards to learn because she tested me. He doesn't know his notes as good as she feels like he should at that point, which I agreed. She gave him the whole stack. I was like, what? Like give him 5 or something, you know? And he learned them all that week. And the only thing is I watched him go through that week because I thought I'm gonna have to help him every day with these. And so I was with him every day when he practiced them. And I started to make a lot of connections about how he was figuring those notes out. You know, sometimes it was in relation to another note, or it was an interval from a song, or like, it was just, it happened so fast with him. Like it was such a blessing to be able to walk through that with him because it just made all of this make so much more sense to me. And you wouldn't think that would really apply to learning the names of individual notes, but it did, right? So there was all this stuff that made it so he could do that. I've never seen another kid do it that fast before, but, or since, but, you know, he was a good memorizer, so, but, and there's that too. Okay, does that help?
Yes, what I guess I feel like this is where I'm dropping the ball. In my lessons, when it says, and like I think I've already recognized that I need to do more individual. That is definitely an individual echoing, but I think I get stuck on the echoing, and I'm not doing a lot more because it doesn't explicitly say it in my lesson plans. And so I think I need both to understand what this looks like in each class. What does that look like in this class? And then I need to go into my lesson and write, this is when you need to be, and I don't know that I need like you were saying, some people need it exactly spelled out, and maybe that's what I'm asking for, but I think even just like what you were saying, this, like nowhere in home, is that the one orally recognized? Yeah. Is it telling me to do that? And so I'm not doing that.
Again, a lot of these things are things I learned in in-person training.
Yes,
right?
yes. And
Okay,
so they've taught you to integrate it.
yeah,
And so just looking at the home plan, I'm not integrating it.
But I'm pretty sure at some point in Mousy and Home, it does talk about the oral recognition game at some point. Look up Mousy in the home book. Let's just see. But at any rate, how you know is because of what we just did. You know, these are the things you're focusing on in toddlers. You're gonna focus heavily on this in cycles. Maybe some of this will happen. In home, you're focusing on these two heavily, right? They're already gonna kind of do this naturally, right? I mean, you may have to go back and do some
well, that's where I have been focusing because, well, like I said, there's only 4 in the class, but 1/4 of the class needs to go clear back to the beginning on echoing. And so but once I spend that much time on that,
don't spend that much time on it. Just do it, like start, if it's a new series of patterns, like a new cards, then do the neutral syllable, 1 or 2 reps of that, immediately add the language, and then go into individual echoes. Try the language first. If they can't do it, then go back to neutral syllable, and start with that descending minor third.
But there's okay, where is I'm feeling very disorganized here. Let me pull out this.
It's not gonna be that defined, Jess. Like, it's going to just happen naturally, right? So like, you're gonna be in class, you're gonna hear that they can't do it, so then you just
pop back.
Well, I find that the patterns take long enough that Jack's gone. He will sit for a minute, which I feel like is big progress.
Mhm.
But as soon as I sit long enough for cute little C girl to have the time that she needs just echoing these, it's not the duple patterns, it's the tonal patterns. As soon as we spend even half the amount of time that I feel like she needs, he's gone. And so I feel like when else am I pulling in, okay, into the song now, into finding these within the song,
Mhm.
because
That class may not get as good at this year as you would like them to, you know?
and because I'm learning as much
Yeah,
as they
right,
are, as to
right.
how to integrate
And
these
you get
things
better
together.
at doing this as you teach more years, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember so many trainers saying it wasn't until we had the keyboard program, because Music Art didn't have keyboard for a number of years,
Okay.
that we understood how important all this was,
Okay.
you know, and how to really utilize it. So, I mean, it's as you teach the different levels and everything.
So the difference that I was asking earlier is the difference between oral recognition game and the notation game. I think, to me,
Yeah.
they are kind of the
same?
same.
No,
Yes,
because
that's
oral
what I'm-
recognition game is all oral and oral. And notation games are oral, and visual. And you don't want to
So
do
the notation game, they have their own cards. Oral
Yes.
recognition game, they do
or
not
you
have
have,
it.
or you, yes,
They do not have cards.
right. No cards. Oral is completely 100% oral and oral. You absolutely don't want to show them the cards during that. That does not happen until symbolic association, and that's when the first thing that happens is the blue cards, right? And then the yellow cards. The blue cards in home.
Which
The,
Sorry, which
the
one?
graphic
Bum,
notation.
bum, bum. Wait, all right, is that the
Bum,
pink
bum,
one?
bum, bum,
Oh yeah,
whee!
we've
yeah.
done
yeah.
this. Okay,
Yeah, okay? That's, but that's not, you know, specific pitches or
Yeah, yeah.
specific rhythm, right? But that's their
Uh-huh.
first symbolic association experience. So you have all that time that you know, until you, like, look,
Well, and I'm thinking, because I might be teaching World next year, sorry.
Yeah.
So my brain is going so many different places here. And so this, often in World, it has you do one and then immediately the next one.
what, tell me, what do you mean by one immediately the next one?
Sorry, like the notate, I just keep turning.
Oh, it has you do the oral recognition game followed by the notation
Or
game.
vice versa. Some of them are in a different order too. No, it's always the oral first.
Always.
Yes.
Always
So
oral
here's
first.
oral.
If it's not, it's wrong.
Okay.
So,
So always the oral first.
Yes.
And then the notation
Okay.
game.
yes. And it's better, it's more effective if you can do the oral recognition game like the week before you do the notation game, right?
I think that's probably what it is. It's an
Yeah.
oral recognition game, and then the next week oral recognition game, and then the notation game.
Or even, yeah, yeah. You know, sometimes I think we want, you don't have to repeat all the steps every time. You can like if they've had experience with the oral recognition game and you feel like they're, you know, they've had experience with it. Let's just say they've had experience with it. Just chant the patterns and then go into the notation game. And if you see issues, then you might,
Want to spend more time
Yeah.
backing up.
right,
Well, and I think World is especially what you're talking about because there's so much on here. You can never get to all of it.
Yeah,
So they're giving you all of the ideas of what
Yes.
you can do.
And I mean, even in the middle of the notation game, you can have everybody turn their cards over and you can just say, okay, I want you to close your eyes and I'm going to sing a pattern or I'm going to chant a pattern and I want you to tell me what due days go with it. Ba, ba, ba. Mm-hmm. You know, because we're doing duple rhythms right here, right? So that, I mean, you can just take a quick second and go back to that if you need to do that, right? So.
So I think what I probably need to spend time on my own is like diving into this. Is there a place that I would look specifically for the notation games? Is it in one of these looks?
In the teacher guides.
In
There is a section,
I'm wondering if I
let
need
me see if I
to
can find
just
it
like
quickly.
copy off all the different teacher guides or
Look in the back of your home guide and just see if you can find
again
notation.
notation.
games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't see notation, but I did see oral recognition.
So go to the unit that you have all the card games.
What are card games? What is that?
Notation games.
Is that a
What do we or what? So those would be used for that.
Pathway to Literacy, maybe, that
Write it
section?
at home.
That would be it.
So,
Extra notation, reading and
Can't
writing
figure out how to
traditional
add it into
notation.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this right here, there's this Pathway to Literacy notation games, process for introduction, the preparation, the steps, drawing it, extending it to instruments. So there should be a page like this for ensemble, a page like this for notation games, a page like, there won't be a whole page for oral recognition, it's probably just included on the,
There is an oral recognition on this one right here.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that gives me some places to study. Thank you, sorry.
no, you're good.
Again.
So just for the sake of a picture. So babies is just to here, right? Toddlers, we're gonna have those two. Cycles, we're gonna have mostly that, maybe a little bit into that, okay? Home, it's gonna go as far as that, but no farther. World, it's gonna go as far as that, but no, so I'm looking at the bottom of the thing, okay? The bottom is what matters. And then keyboard, we're going, oops. Keyboard, we're going as far as, like we're basically doing all of these.
just switch the side of it.
Yeah, but it's kind of more like, this.
Did you put it up because it's part of that? Is that why you put it up?
Well, it doesn't matter what comes before, because we're always gonna do that,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna go beyond generalization in keyboard 1, okay? Actually, we are gonna go a tiny bit into improvisation, just vocally. Okay, and then in keyboard year 2, we're definitely doing improv, and we're starting to get a little bit into that when we learn the names of the notes. And then keyboard year 3, we're all the way in, like we're just doing everything. Okay,
So helpful.
good. And one thing I was gonna say too, one way to look at this, you know, look at all, your keyboard things are here, right? But this is a phase of, these are phases of development. Like the babies, toddlers, and cycles, that's your first foundations, right? Babies is, I've got curriculum ones for all these too, but it doesn't matter for now. But babies, toddlers, and cycles, we're just laying foundations. We are filling the storehouse, okay? We don't have a lot of other, we're not trying to execute things or perform things or be able to cognitively figure out things. We're not even expecting, when I say perform, I mean, they don't need to hold a part. They don't need to be able to do anything yet, right? We're just practicing, we're just exposing, we're filling the storehouse. When we get to music makers, now they're making music, right? They are playing in ensembles. They're coming up with their own ideas. They are reading music, okay? And they are, they're doing all the steps like we just talked, okay? Keyboard, now they're figuring out unfamiliar material. That's the big difference. Plus they're starting to learn to improvise and then have an understanding. How piano lessons were taught when you started, probably when you started and when I started, is it was taught backwards. We started with that last step, okay? So, and I think this is a helpful visual for parent orientation too, because obviously there's some edits that need to happen here, but because then they start to see, oh, I don't need to have this expectation of my child when they're here, right? It's okay, we're just filling the storehouse now. You know, when we get there, then we're gonna start exploring some of that stuff. So I think that can be really helpful for them, so. All right, let's gather these up. Do you want to grab the blues? We want this one. Rose. You can just put them right in the top of that box, my friend. And let's do Grandma's glasses. Okay, everyone choose a pair of glasses. I could probably share some of these with you too. I hadn't thought of those, so sorry about that. You're gonna get a kick out of them because there's some in here that are when I was a little child. Look at those Coke bottles. But I
Oh,
always,
whoa. Are these actually prescription?
Yes.
yeah, these
Because
are all.
I have contacts in and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you may want to just get like the very cheapest readers, or even just get ones without lenses. I bet you could go to the eye doctor and a lot of these, like these are my mother's
You
old
probably
glasses.
get them from the VR and check out the lenses.
These
Actually,
are
maybe
my-
they don't sell them at the VR.
Yeah, I wonder if you could just be like,
How about that?
it frames or I don't know, like
Look at those. That's 70s right there.
Dollar Tree glasses.
Yeah.
I think it's the plastic one.
I
Look like this.
I thought I had some
I
help.
think they have these, you know what I'm saying, where they're like.
These are Grandma's glasses. Oh, and I have a hat too, an old hat that I use. This is Grandma's hat. This is the way she folds her arms, just like that. I don't know if I did that right. I'm gonna hurry and look it up. I cannot read with this prescription.
It was the 100th day of school this week, so I was desperately wishing that I had an old pair of glasses for Ember, but she was like, oh, my back. And I was like, oh, bless you.
How cute is that?
24.
You see why I've saved everything through my life? Okay, this is the way she folds her hands and lays them in her lap. Okay, pick a different pair of glasses. And with toddlers, you may not get to do, I think this might happen in cycles too, maybe not. Anyway, you have to just gauge with how much of that you can. That one's got a broken side too. Can you clear your throat like that? These are Grandma's glasses. This is Grandma's hat. This is the way she folds her hands and puts them in her lap. So I'm gonna get Grandma's glasses. These are Grandpa's glasses. This is Grandpa's hat. This is the way he folds his arms, just like that. Yep. So hands and arms, lap and that. So there you go. Fun little rhyme.
Love it.
Yeah. And you're welcome to borrow some of these if you like. So the problem is they are prescription and sometimes the kids just won't wear them because of that. So these ones I think are really, yeah, those don't hardly have any prescription. Anyway, but I have a hard time parting with things, as you can see. So, and I remember my parents wearing these glasses. So, all right. So Grandma's glasses. So we have done today. Can I erase this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've done Sally Go Around the Sun. We've done, what do we do after Sally?
We are all nodding.
Thank you. Nodding. We have done Grandma's glasses. Wasn't there another one we did? Or is that all we've done? I thought we did 3 before. We didn't do Jolly
Sure.
Sailors. Okay. Walking, 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 walking. Walk with me, walk along with me. Walk till the music stops. Did you see how quickly Rose stopped? Wow. Good stopping, Rose. Walking, walking, walk with me. Walk along with me. Walk till, walk till the music stops. I can't remember the tune, I gotta look it up, hang on. We could try different kinds of walking. That would work really well in a home class. I'm not sure about a toddler class. They probably won't be able to do different kinds of walking. It will be, let's see, wasn't it stop? Oh yeah, it's called stop. I was looking at walk. 50. Oh, the different one, sorry. I'm glad I looked it up. So this is stop, let's see. Stop, stop, says the red light, go, says the green. Careful, says the yellow light, winking in between. All right, you can have a seat and get scars. I think I may have put them here. I can't find it. Okay, so this is not a pass that out first activity. This is I come with a green and a red. No, I'll say that. Yellow. I was gonna say blue. I was like, that's not right. Okay. Stop, says the red light. Walking, 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 walking. Stop, says the red light. Walking, 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 walking. Stop, says the red light.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I decided not to.
Go, says the go. Walking, 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 walking. Stop. Go. Walking, 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 walking.
Stubbed my toe.
Stop. Careful, says the yellow white light, blinking in between. Carefully, carefully, go! Careful, 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 stop! I need a Velcro belt or something. So that's what I do. This one has varying success levels with toddlers, I will say. So you might even just try it stationary movement first. So red. Red means stop. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Stop. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Stop. Go. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Stop. We just practice that back and forth. Stop, stop, says the red light. Go, says the green. Careful, says the yellow light. Blinking in between. Yeah, this one's a little harder with toddlers, I think. So, but that's the activity. So that's all I got for you on that one. So that one is a little tricky. And then, do you have your list there, Jess?
Yes, maybe swinging
Okay. Swinging on.
or wiggly woo.
Okay. We want to get swinging now. Swinging is another one of those that was a little hard, I thought. 36. Okay. I have a little stuffed worm, like a little caterpillar, like you buy at the dollar store. They have the different colors. They have little caterpillars at the dollar store in the spring.
Like
so look
stuffed
for one.
animal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's a stuffed animal, but you could even use one of those little caterpillar looking things that are squishy and have all the little tentacles everywhere around them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They can make them in balls, and they
Mhm.
also make them in like a long tube. Gemma has one. You could ask Allie to bring it. So I get my little worm, and since I don't have one, I'm just going to use this scarf. But so. I have a friend I want you to meet. His name's Wiggly Woo. Look, he's my worm. Would you like to say hi to Wiggly Woo? You can touch him. Oh, worms can be a little bit ew, right? Do you like worms, Emily? Oh, Emily wants to, be so careful with Wiggly Woo because we don't want to hurt him. Yeah. Thank you, Emily. Rose, would you like to touch Wiggly Woo? Would you like to hold him? Yeah. Oh, notice how Rose is so careful with Wiggly Woo. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. What's his name?
Wiggly Woo.
Wiggly Woo. And his name is Wiggly Woo. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and all that he can do is wiggle. Can you wiggle like Wiggly Woo? Maybe you want to get down the floor and wiggle like this, because worms wiggle in the ground. You try that? Oh, you could wiggle on your side. You could turn on your tummy. I would stretch this out a lot more, by the way. I'm just trying to hurry. So wiggle on your tummy. He wiggles all day and wiggles all night. The neighbors all say he's a terrible fright. Ah! So you do this to a mom because she'll get it. Yeah. So you scream. Ah! Yeah. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is
Wiggly Woo.
That's right, Rose. So it's a song that's too hard for everybody to sing, but you can use letting it fill in the name. It will take more repetitions than one though. Yeah, but so I just use a little prompt for that one. You could give them all scarves. Let's develop this for a minute. Everybody take a scarf. Let's make our own worm. Maybe your grown-up wants to help you tie in a knot, or maybe you want to just use your scarf the way it is. But these are going to be our worms. I'm going to tie mine in a knot because I want my Wiggly Woo to have a head. That's going to be his head. Okay? You may not even have time to do any of that in toddlers. You might just have everybody have a scarf. Bouncing, 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 bounce. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. Wiggly Woo. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden. With toddlers, I'm going to have to be doing a lot of this. Ooh, he just tickled you. Oh, he's going to come up your leg. And all that he can do. What does a worm do?
Wiggle.
He wiggles. He wiggles all day and wiggles all night. The neighbors all say, ah! He's a terrible fright. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is
Wiggly Woo.
Wiggly Woo. That's right. Isn't that so fun? Okay, can you bring all of your worms to me? Let's crawl our worms right over here to the basket. Put them asleep in the basket. Night, night, wormies. Night, night. What was his name?
Wiggly Woo.
Wiggly Woo. Yeah, and so many of the kids in your toddler class aren't verbal yet, so, but you know, the ones that are, you can say that. Okay, so we did Wiggly Woo. And I cannot keep track.
Swinging's right here.
Yes. I love that song. I think it's such a cute little song. It's definitely one you need to use a puppet or a prop or something like that, right? But it's just a cute little song. So it's one I wanted to learn to sing well so that I could do it. Okay, yes. All right. So we're in the key of G. It starts on so below G. Excuse me. Swinging in the, oh boy, swinging in the swing, swinging up so high, we can almost touch our heads up against the sky. I'm pretty sure I just bagged this one because I don't remember it at all. But let's see what we can do with it. Okay, I'll stand facing a partner and holding hands, swing arms from side to side, chanting swinging, swinging. I love that part. Sing the song accompanied by the swinging action. At the end of the song, release a joyous wee, swinging the arms up high. Okay, so My first week on this might look something like, everybody jump up. Okay. Can you grab your partner's hands and we're gonna swing your arms in some way, however you want to swing. Swinging, 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 swinging in the swing, swinging up so high, we can almost touch our heads up against the sky. Swinging in the swing, swinging up so high, we can boogers. We can almost touch our heads. We can almost touch our heads. Mi, so, do, mi, re, so, re, mi, re, so, re, mi, so, do. I'm using the solfege to learn it. This would be my prep time, by the way. Do, fa, mi, do, re, ti, do. Swinging in the swing, swinging up so high, we can almost touch our heads up against the sky. We can almost touch our heads way up to the sky. I know I have a lot of that one either.
Well, I
but
can't get to all the songs anyway, so it
Yeah.
makes me feel good sometimes to hear that there are some
yeah.
you've skipped.
I mean, you could do resonator bars on this one. That would be,
Oh.
and just have them play a steady beat. And then we've talked about using like D and F sharp, A and D, or D and A for the child, and then F sharp and D for the teacher, so that you
I
can
gotta
play
write
along
that
with
down.
them.
You said it, but I didn't write it down.
So there's a couple different ways. We'll talk about this in resonator bar activity, but I'm just going to give you this quick. little
It's
tip.
basically you're doing a one chord,
Mhm.
but you're adding the mi and the high do.
Exactly. Because, okay, so my reason for doing that would be this. So the child's just going to do this, okay? And ideally, you want them to do one at a time so that they can so they can just hear themselves and respond to what they're hearing, right? Okay? They may or may not do it to the beat. When you feel like they're ready to do it to the beat, then you can have your own, or you can have the parents sit opposite them and play on this end, the different things we've talked about. Okay, but why would I do this? Sorry, that's not what I was going to say. Just a second. Oh, you asked why I would do this earlier. To match their beat. See, now they can work on beat development because I'm going to see what they're doing and I'm going to match what they're doing. Swinging up the swing, swinging up so high. I'm in the key of G. Sorry, I forgot to change keys, but yeah, you'd have to change keys. But okay.
So because the kids sometimes, instead of doing this, they'll just go really fast, and
Yeah.
that's why you
But you
would
can
sometimes
match them across too,
Mhm.
right? You can match
Yeah, you totally can.
either way you're sitting.
Yeah, I think that this is probably more, like if I'm using my own bars, I should be side by side.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, you can match them on the same bars, that's okay, but I think here they're hearing my pitches and their pitches. It's just another level of hearing, right? So, toddlers,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, but I don't know that you would necessarily need to do that in toddlers, but the advantage of you having your own bars is now you're matching them, so that develops confidence in their beat as well, so, anyway. But you could just walk around swinging scarves with that song, Swinging on the swing, swinging up so high. Pick up your scarf. Whatever it is. I don't even remember the song now. Yeah, I think the first time I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm not learning that song in 5 minutes, so it's a no. All right, well, we're done, so. Okay, so
Thank you.
out of your list.
That was great. That was the one that I didn't know. I don't know what GUIRO is. It
Oh,
looks like a
Guiro.
block that's got the
The typical, the we-row looks like a fish.
Are you saying a W?
Yes,
We row.
like we row a boat.
We row. Okay.
This is the closest thing I have to an actual we row, but I mean, you can use anything with ribbing, right?
You can even use the rhythm sticks.
you could.
And I call it a wee row?
Yeah, well, yes, I think
Because
so.
it's an instrument.
Yeah, I think that can be confusing for
introduction.
toddlers.
But there's only one.
Just borrow this. So show them some different things, and then you can go around handing them the stick and letting them try. We row. What is this?
We will.
We row. And then write it on the board for the parents, or have a paper with it written on so that they learn that guiro is really we row. Yeah, so, but it's typically, like if you buy one in a music catalog, it looks like a fish, so.
Yeah, that was one of the things, because I pulled it up and Googled it.
Yeah, yeah. One item I always looked for every time I went anywhere, you know, traveling, but never could find, and the ones in the you know, these are so expensive when you buy them in an actual music catalog, you know, because they want to sell quality, which, yeah, anyway. But this one had a good sound, I thought, so it just came in a package of instruments we gave one of our kids for Christmas, and when they didn't want to use them anymore, I put them in the music garden stuff, so.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Anyway,
I think
here.
that covers it, so.
Let me just send this with you. But if you did use a rhythm stick, you would want to use a stick like this, like something smaller to go across it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but this is also hollow, and a weiro is typically hollow, so that's the other reason why I think that's way better than a stick, so. Yeah, and it would just be confusing, I think, to call it a weiro when we call it a stick, so, yeah, okay. All right, so this gives us, how many hours are we up to? I wrote it down somewhere. Okay, we've had 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 now. So we need another, well, I think if I give you between 10 and 12, that's probably pretty good because we won't do the practice teaching and all of that. So let's do a whole bunch more activities next time. I'm gonna I started looking through those other toddler guides and pulling some ones in through there. How I'm choosing what to pull in is I'm picking ones that I feel like I have a particularly clever idea on. Or especially if it's one that was difficult to me until I figured it out, you know. That's kind of my number one choice, why I would choose that activity. Beyond that, you know, I'm throwing in a few that are just harder to figure out. If it's a familiar one, so here's a question for you. So there's several ones that go through, oh, in fact, this is another list I was gonna give you. There's several ones that go through multiple curricula, multiple years. So this says, teachers, please take special care in your accuracy in singing the following songs. The children will be playing these songs on either the glockenspiel or piano in years to come, and it's very important they learn them correctly the first time. Old habits are hard to break. Please ask if you need help, blah, blah, blah. Does not match exactly the children singing on the recording. Okay, if the notation on the card does not match exactly the children singing on the recording, please check with me before singing it in class. Like, chapter with the angels, soon in the morning. On the recording they sing, yes. But the rhythm that you're gonna do in the song page is soon in the morning. So you need to sing it that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where would you recommend putting this?
I don't know. So these are all songs that they're either gonna play on the glockenspiel or the piano that appear earlier in the curriculum. Okay, sorry, finish passing it out. Because my concern was I had teachers, so this is years ago actually, but I had teachers singing these songs with the kids in class and they weren't singing them correctly, and so I knew that was gonna cause a problem later. So this isn't necessarily ones that just travel through the whole curriculum per se, but they are gonna come up earlier. No does. You could cross no off because that one they never play, they just do it through the whole curriculum. Anyway.
But it does show up multiple times.
Yeah, it does show up multiple times, so it's good to be consistent.
I need to go through.
And then we do all the pattern stuff. And you have focused listening lesson?
I feel like I looked that one up. I don't remember if I haven't printed it.
I-
I think I looked that one.
I've got 4 copies of it, so I'm guessing I
Cause
probably
I've
did
seen this.
to you. Yeah. So this is cycles, right?
Yes, this
Yes.
is the one I was looking for, and I could. Okay, yes, this is what when I was looking at the recognition game, I'm like, I looked at something that looks so similar to this, but it's different. It's the focus listening. Again, it's the steps here.
And this one, process for introducing new concepts, I created this because I wanted teachers to see that they could use the Montessori 3-period lesson in most of what they do to teach, right? So, and this is beyond just that though. So the first thing here is experience. You're gonna experience or listen, hear it. I'm gonna get the copiers really bad. And then extend the song or activity or concept. Discuss or move, label and extend. So now we're adding the label. And then write and read, introduce the symbol, experience it through singing or playing, and then write. So I think I made this for drum teachers and guitar teachers so that they understood that they, like before you teach a rhythm, the kids need to experience the rhythm. Like don't start by chanting a rhythm out of the book, like tap it, move to it, all of that kind of a thing. So, I don't know, I guess this isn't really a 3-period lesson, it's just kind of the process that we like to go through for introducing new concepts, so. Okie
Are
doke.
we still recording?
Yes.
I think we had a
I can
question
turn
or
it
two.
off. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's like.
I think I have a couple questions. I have to get my kids to the dentist soon, but I critically wanted to ask, when are our next trainings? Maybe you could just text us that.
Mhm.
But we have a lead that came through that we don't know if it came through you or for us. And so